Hey guys, this is Nick from EDAC 629, and for my digital portrayal, I'd like to share with you how I learned to stop worrying and love myself. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about my own development as an adult, with specific regard to the stages of identity development that we talked about probably in the first 3 or 4 weeks or so of the semester. So to start, I'd like to talk about when I first identified myself as an adult. That's the way we started off our semester too. And I'd first defined myself as an adult after my father passed away in 2008 when I was 21. I kind of got jolted out of the lull that I guess a lot of college students are in, where you're still kind of in the semi-protective bubble of school, where between financial aid and parents and whatnot, things are still getting paid for, and you don't really have to worry about it. And as kind of a coping mechanism, I kind of reverted into this almost like instinctual man mode, where I was putting my nose to the grindstone, and I was in a steady relationship. And putting my nose to the grindstone on getting my teaching degree and then getting out into the workforce, and doing things more just to help my mom out and try and fill that role as well. And I know I say living society's life the silent killer. I'm not saying that if you've had a dream since you were a kid that you shouldn't follow it or anything, but society has a certain norm or expectation for what we were supposed to do at certain points in time. And certainly for me, at that point in time, I felt a lot of comfort in filling into society's roles for me. What I came to realize within 5 years' time is that falling into society's roles almost mindlessly is really the stuff that midlife crises are made out of, where you've fallen into a pattern that maybe you're not comfortable with, or maybe something that has just gotten away from you for so long, and then you say, oh no, and you have this big oh no moment down the line. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the identity stages from James Marcia. Since the time I was a little kid, I always thought, I wanted to be a teacher, I wanted to be in education. Marcia would call this the identity foreclosure, and this happens a lot. Your parents were teachers, or your parents were nurses or doctors, and you wanted to do that because your parents, you saw them as positive role models, and you wanted to follow and be positive role model yourself. Well, at a certain point in time, I would say it was after I graduated college, and after that I had been working for a couple years, probably in the summer of 2011, maybe the winter of 2011, where I then started to progress into this diffusal state where it says, well, this isn't really fulfilling. I'm not fulfilled with what I'm doing. While I do enjoy it, it's like I feel like this is not, like I'm not happy. And so what do I do? And so I started to look around, and I started to search for options and alternatives. And I applied to a couple schools and a couple of different programs, and I ended up choosing the Ball State Adult Education Program. But it was during that kind of searching time, maybe between late 2011 and 2012, where I started to enter this moratorium stage that Marcia mentions. And even today, I would say that it is healthy for people to bounce back and forth between this moratorium and identity achievement stage, because I worry when people become too comfortable with their position, that they might become complacent, or they might be falling into just kind of the comfort and the ease of routine. So I always try and challenge myself and question whether or not recommit myself to the things that I do love, or maybe I'll have an eye-opening experience and say, well, I do love this. Maybe I wasn't as in love with it as I was when I was enamored with it as a kid, and that happened with me and teaching. So during this time, I was inspired by this whole generation of You. And You was even Time Person of the Year for 1 year. And I'd like to talk about Husky Starcraft, who was won King of the Web in 2012. And now what this individual did was he started basically out of his apartment in college making videos for YouTube for a particular online game called StarCraft that many millions of people play, and that is played on a competitive scene for purses that are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it has a serious scene with serious following, and what really got me with him and other contemporaries like him, uh, even let's say Felicia Day, the Geek and Sundry YouTube channel has I don't know how many million subscribers, but and all the YouTube artists, all of the self-made internet startup people, they all were number one were talented, number two were driven, and number three were opportunists. They were in the right place at the right time, and they took the right opportunity. And that was a very meaningful experience for me as I was going through that moratorium stage and trying to look at different things, like what is good for me, what is best, what do I want. And I liked this graphic, so I wanted to share it with you. It was the ability, access, awareness equals this opportunity. And I think that really hits on a lot of what was so inspiring about Mr. Plot in the last slide, and about a lot of the internet startup contemporaries. And even when I came back to graduate school, I had my ideas of what I wanted to do for an assistantship, and I happened on one in technology, which I had some skill in, but it certainly wasn't something that I ever considered for a career interest. And in a years and a half's time, I've made such significant strides in that field where I can't not help but consider it, because it's just everything was going technological and digital, and I was just in the right place at the right time to get this opportunity, and I've run with it. And I've made more connections from my capacity in that regard than I could have hoped for, really, and many others here in the university. So I'm very grateful for that. And it just reaffirms that in recent years, I've really tried to become very much an opportunist, where I realize that around you could be things that you don't know, and opportunities that are behind you are gone, and opportunities that are in front of you are uncertain, and uncertain at best. We really only have the control over the opportunities that are at our hand right now, and I think that we need to have the awareness to be able to see that, oh, this is something that is cool, and this is something that we can jump on, and you need to jump on it, and you need to put the drive into it, because if you're in the right place at the right time, the things will come to you. And it's not about living what society's norms and what society's expectations have for you, because if I had been doing that, I certainly would not be in this program right now, because I'd be in my 5th year in teaching, with most likely with a family. But that's not the path that I guess that I was that I've been traversing down. So kind of in conclusion, I have this, we're talking about what is the meaning of ourselves, what is our purpose, and what is opportunity. And I thought that this was a good clip that kind of sums up everything that I've been talking about.
Man, I tell you what, Hank, about that dang old meaning of life, man, it's like this, man. It's like a butterfly flapping his wings deep down in the forest, man. It's going to cause a tree falls like 5,000 miles away, man. Ain't nobody see it, nobody don't even happen. You know, if the baby born into this world, you know, they don't got any friends, got nothing but to go come in and find out all about them old evil, man. Man, see, like, you don't even know, man. It's like you're born into this world, man. And you got like this, man, the dust and wind, man. Or like a dang old candle in wind, man. It don't matter, man. It's sort of these old houses. You know what I think, man? Like that dang old, I think, therefore you are, man. Well, that's what we tell ourselves, isn't it, Boomhauer?
And it's such a good and poignant, especially related to what I'm talking about, is that we are really dust in the wind, and the opportunities that come to us, we may not know about, and it is around the next corner, and it is really up to us to be aware for it. And really, it's also up to us to live our lives the way that we see it, and to take what we love and what we can do and give it to the world, just as our role as a community member. We can give what we love and what we can do back to the world by putting our efforts into it. and once again, being in the right place at the right time. And if you're good enough, the opportunities will be there. So, thanks for taking a minute to listen to how I've kind of developed a little bit as a person, how I've come from someone that was very much living society's life, gone through the state of total diffusion, and then into my searching phase. And then hopefully at some point I'd like to say that I would become actualized. But then again, sometimes I think that I hope that I never say that I'm happy with where I am in life, because there's always something that I want to do next. And I hope that that's something that you guys experience in your lives too. So thanks for taking the time to listen to me.